Well, Senator, I would just note that militarily, Iran has been completely overmatched and crushed from the beginning. Militarily, their capabilities are nowhere near ours.
Well, why don't you
show some leadership and stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics while you don't give us the money? You want to stand up here and talk about the troops? You won't show any political courage to actually fund our department because you have Trump derangement syndrome and can't actually commit to anything meaningful. So I put this on you, Senator.
Oh, the amazing death spiral of the Dem Party is at hand. The puppet masters and families involved in creating the evil Dems are all going down. All assets have been deployed. The FBI, DOJ, Fed cleanup is almost done, leading to finals in this war. No games. That's the comms we're getting. We're going to go through this today. We're at 513,000 followers on Rumble. Thank you so much for helping us get to that number. Also, again, we were number 2 on the leaderboard next to Dan Bongino with our video of Traitors Justice, 220,000 views in 16 hours. Man, that is just fabulous. Wanted to show you this one again.
Our new And We Know bracelets connect you with scripture with just the tap of your phone. Simply tap your phone to the bracelet, click the pop-up, and there's a new verse every time. If you're feeling anxious, need to pray, or just want to see what God has for you in the moment, you can tap for a verse and pray over that situation. Now available online.
Pretty cool. Available online at our new website, andweknow.com, if you're looking at that on your screen there. Beautiful website. A lot of folks have been writing in on things that they want. They want the news added back in. We're going to get to that. And all the pictures, all of our partners are located. You'll notice in the top we have our podcast, our partners, our shopping site. You can click shop, support, get involved with the Patriot Showcase events. Find us on social media and resources. And resources give you the LT's top picks, archive episodes, recommended books, and feature resources curated by LT. So you'll see the latest news that we have located there. For those that were looking for it, Beyond the Microphone, our book is located there. Also, we hope that you guys go check that out and send us your pics. We're going to have pictures later on of Patriots wearing their gear. If you tried to send something a couple weeks ago, we asked that you would send those in again. Our new website now has an email getting those sent to us, okay? Here we go.
I think you did accurately portray me as a reformed neocon, and members of our generation in Iraq and Afghanistan watched administrations on both sides try to project some remaking of a society in the image of America that spent thousands of lives. I mean, in Iraq, 15, I don't know the exact number, but tens of thousands between Iraq and Afghanistan, men and women lost. President Trump said, we're not fighting stupid wars like that again. And he hasn't. That's why we haven't been trying to remake Iranian society, but simply in a realist, America first way, ensure they never have a path to a nuclear bomb, full stop. And he has said as a candidate, and he said as a private citizen, Iran can never have a nuclear weapon because radical Islamists with nuclear weapon will wield it over our head in perpetuity.
Secretary,
so President Trump ran on fighting wars differently, and we're doing so overwhelmingly. And he was very clear as a candidate that Iran can never have a nuclear capability. So I think he's directly on par with exactly what he said.
That's right. Let's continue with more of this from Pete Hegseth. He put this out, the Secretary of Defense. All right, here we go.
Iran is at the weakest point militarily it has ever been in the past decade. Certainly, maybe in 47 years, as they've gathered effectively a terror army. And that terror army was built to try to create conventional capability to defend against a pursuit of nuclear weapons, which meant thousands of ballistic missiles, many of which we have destroyed, others of which they have put inside facilities and hidden in underground facilities. And that's what terror regimes would do. So I acknowledge they still have capabilities, no doubt. But the amount of damage that we've done to them over the course of these series of operations has put them in the worst place they've ever been.
Interesting. I just noticed Secretary of Defense on there. It should be Secretary of War. So I wonder why they put that change there. Very interesting. Let's continue with some more of this. I just thought it was brilliant. Some clips from his testimony.
Providing for American men and women as opposed to Ukrainian men and women is a higher priority for the United States Senate. So 5 supplementals that went to Ukraine, as good as that cause may be, why is that righteous to do? But funding troops in harm's way right now, given the threat and what they're undertaking, this is a partisan exercise.
And
Yeah. He was just going at him. Here's another one.
Senator, I would just note that militarily, I mean, Iran has been completely overmatched and crushed from the beginning, militarily. Their capabilities are nowhere near ours. I would take issue with your characterization that we started this war. Iran started this war 47 years ago, and they've killed thousands of Americans, including our brothers on the battlefield in Iraq. Iran has been targeting us for a long time.
Secretary.
We didn't start. They did.
Yep, they did it 47 years ago, and this Van Hollen character doesn't want to hear that, doesn't want it on the record. It's too late, and that information will continue to flow out. And you saw this in the intro. I wanted to just replay it again. Senator Peters thinking he's going to yell at Secretary Hegseth. He loses that battle.
Why don't you show some leadership and stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics while you don't give us the money? You want to stand up here and talk about the troops? You won't show any political courage to actually fund our department because you have Trump derangement syndrome and can't actually commit to anything meaningful. So I put this on you, Senator.
I put that on you, Senator. And that's how you got to handle these guys. How many of, for many, many years now, watching these type of these moments, I've always wanted to see our Secretary of Defense or War finally putting these senators in their place. You have a younger guy in shape, PTs, runs with his troops, leads by example. And now these guys who sit back in their little luxury chairs and think that they can just do whatever they want, live their corrupt lives, think they're going to tell a guy who's leading from the front how to run things. He's had enough. And this is what we all think and wish we could do, and sit there and be a part of what Hegseth has been putting out for all of us. In the defense of our nation, all of us that have children and grandchildren in the military. I've got another one that's going in, doing the paperwork now for the Air Force. And he's part of a long list of people that are going in. And the recruiter is just amazed because they're backed up 10, 11, 12 months now before you can ship out because so many people are joining. A lot of it has to do with this, Pete Hegseth, and the leadership that we have now in the White House. Speaking of the White House, notice the Department of War CTO, so we're talking about them. They put this out, President Trump, folded arms, red tie, no games. You saw that in our thumbnail. The question, games, unlimited games, no games. And you have the United States flag. So, of course, that post with President Trump in the shadows, timestamp of 10:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we look at it and we see, here we go. Buckle up, everyone. No more games. And we notice 10:39, of course, was another post there, 10:37, 10:39. And it's playing out for all of us to see. Now, as we get into this, we've been getting into the elections and how this has been playing out for many to see. We're involved in the war with Iran. We're taking out the deep state there, and we're taking them out in our own country. So many battles going on around this earth for our nation in protection of so many others, right? Joe Lang, anybody remember the one and only member of the intelligence community who was telling people the 2020 election was stolen and there was evidence of Chinese involvement? If you guessed John Ratcliffe, who is currently the head of the CIA and was at the time the director of national intelligence, then you win. Why would Trump place the only guy who said there was evidence of China interfering in the 2020 election as head of the CIA in his second term? Guess who was saying the 2020 election was safe and secure? Quote, allegations of suppressed analysis were central to Ratcliffe's claim, as he cited a report by intelligence community analytic ombudsman Barry Zoloff indicating the CIA management pressured analysis to diminish findings on China. The report suggested some analysts were reluctant to label Chinese actions as interference due to disagreements with Donald Trump's policies. Did you catch that? CIA management was pressuring analysts to downplay the Chinese interference. We all now know that Pulte was installed as DNI to fire all the holdovers in the intelligence community who conspired to hide this evidence to steal the election. The Scaramucci model. But what hasn't got a lot of media attention is that the CIA is also getting cleansed by Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe already knew who the co-conspirators were. Q drop 1351. What departments must be cleaned prior to the fair and equal justice under the law? What happens if the Fed criminal indictments are brought forth to a corrupt FBI, DOJ, Fed judge? FBI DOJ's first, the C_A state next. Now comes the pain. See, the cleanup has to happen. You can't bring the indictments to the corruption. You got to clean them up first, then bring them. CBS News, by the way, put out a report. President Trump will allege Chinese meddling in U.S. elections. Remember that?
I have revealed tonight my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest.
How about that? It's all starting to come together little by little. I've got more on some interesting information out of New Jersey admitting that their voter rolls weren't exactly the way they were supposed to be. And a lot more. Stand by. Folks, many of us want our furry best friends to thrive. At ltpetclub247.com are all natural, USA-made supplements and treats packed with immune-boosting Coriolis versicolor mushrooms. Shed antler power, transform your pet's health. And guess what? They're so pure, they're great for humans too.
Have been suffering from ulcerative colitis my whole life. I started dosing it very, very hard, like 4 60-milligram tablets 4 times a day. To make a long story short, within about 3 weeks, I stopped bleeding.
From biscuits supporting bones, joints, and organs to mushroom blends for wellness, we've got pets and people covered. Plus, we donate profits to animal rescues like the Beagle Freedom Project. Shop affordable, natural solutions. Head to ltpetclub247.com now for vitality for you and your pet. LT Pet Club 247, health for all, 24/7. Get yours in the description box below today.
If Americans want to prove all the fake news media wrong, all the people that you showed in your clip this morning, tomorrow morning, they could just simply call the Senate and bring the Senate's phones to a halt. There could be millions of people, if they wanted to, call the Senate and say, I don't believe NBC and CNN and ABC and all those who told me there's nothing there. I know there's something there. Pass the save vote. Imagine if millions of people started calling the Senate switchboard tomorrow and brought it to its knees.
Yeah. Make your calls. Here we are now, New Jersey's Democrat governor admitting this.
In June of 2023, nearly 3 years before I became governor, a serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the improper voter registration of what we believe to be roughly 6,600 people in our state. When New Jerseyans applied for a driver's license or identification at the MVC, they were asked if they wanted to register to vote. In the case of this error, some individuals indicated that they weren't citizens and weren't eligible to vote, but the software registered them anyway.
C3 put this out. Photo number 1, a woman who just admitted her state has failed election integrity. Photo number 2, same lady. A woman who claimed President Trump's election integrity speech was crazy. Oh, they're always busted. Joe Lang. Don't miss the importance of this report. A Democrat governor is admitting there were illegals registered to vote in New Jersey through the motor voter program that Bill Clinton started in the 90s for the very purpose of creating fraud across the country. She said it was a glitch in the system. She's right. It was a purposeful glitch. But you can see how everything has changed. The Democrat governor just publicly admitted that illegals were being registered to vote through the New Jersey DMV, and she is blaming the previous Democrat governor by name and removing illegals from the New Jersey voter registration rolls. Now, why would a Democrat governor throw the previous Democrat governor under the bus in such a public and dramatic way? Anybody remember what Harmeet Dillon, as the head of the Civil Rights Division at the DOJ, did recently? She sent letters to every state government official in every state who are in charge of elections and voter registration. It informed them of the law regarding voter registration in federal elections, and also that if they don't cleanse their voter registration rolls, they will be held legally responsible for violating the voting rights of American citizens. The smart Democrats are choosing to save themselves and not go down with the ship named treason. I think more Democrats are doing this than we are even hearing about in several states. Acceleration. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see, let's go on over to Wisconsin voter rolls. Remember this?
It gets to the problem that we only have 4 million adults in the state of Wisconsin. So we're approaching, in the 7.13 million number on the voter rolls, that grows almost daily. It never ends. It rarely goes down. It drops slightly when they sent out the 4-year postcards, and then it shot right back up, and it's the highest that I've ever seen. And it's even worse than this because there's the 4 million adults in Wisconsin. Not all of them register, not all of them vote. We're really down around about 3.6 million, 3.7 million.
Oh, yeah. Wisconsin. Well, they seem to have a little problem. Let's head over to Michigan. Trump just dropped the receipts. A real FBI document from October 2020 just hit, exposing bulk fraudulent voter registrations flooding Muskegon, Michigan. 6 packages of mail-in applications packed with non-existent addresses, invalid phone numbers, signatures that don't match any state records, and the exact same handwriting across dozens of forms. This isn't a theory. It's the official federal record that they buried it for years. They knew. They covered. 2020 was stolen. Cleaned rolls or no elections. Oh boy, the receipts are flying in. So this came out from Darlene Graham, the American people. Let's see, Darlene Graham, just want to show you real quick the official X feed for the U.S. Senator Darlene Graham. Republicans, South Carolina, put this out. The American people are demanding immediate action from Congress on election integrity. That's why the Save America Act is the first bill I am co-sponsoring in the Senate. These reforms are common sense and need to be enacted quickly. So we are thankful for folks like Darlene Graham stepping forward to make sure this happens. Now let's remember this from the skiff. Check this out.
Election systems across the U.S. are found to have deleted millions of votes cast for President Trump. According to an unaudited analysis of data obtained from Edison Research, states using Dominion voting systems may have switched as many as 435,000 votes from President Trump to Joe Biden. Now, the author also finds another 2.7 million Trump votes appear to have been deleted by Dominion, including almost 1 million votes in Pennsylvania alone.
So remember that in case they say, oh, it's just 6,600 or 6,000 plus in New Jersey. throughout the entire nation. Millions upon millions of votes were deleted for President Trump. 1 million in just Pennsylvania. 435,000 switched from Trump to Biden. Remember that evidence from the 2020 election was stolen for President Trump that he actually won in a massive landslide is absolutely monumental, and we do not want to forget that. Let's also remember that 96,600 mail-in ballots were found counted in the Georgia 2020 election for Joe Biden, but were never shown as being physically received backed by the county in order to be counted. Another strong indication of fraud in the Georgia 2020 election was that there was a total of 199,356 mail-in ballots with a 4% rejection rate in the Georgia 2016 election. But in the Georgia 2020 election, there was 1,320,154 mail-in ballots with only a 0.2% rejection rate. How is there almost a non-existent rejection rate compared to the 4% rejection rate from 2016 when there is over 6.5 times more ballots in Georgia's 2020 election? This is a huge indication of fraud. It's very easy for the Dominion system to assign a person to a mail-in ballot inside the system itself. Coincidentally, if Dominion was used, Biden received about 78% of the wins. In every county that used Dominion machines, Biden saw a 5.5% increase in vote totals compared to every other machine manufacturer. And of course, President Trump put out the exposure of the non-citizen voting scandal. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed 250,000 illegal non-citizens registered to vote in just 4 states. And the investigation is expanding. Proactive states using SAVE system already caught over 28,000 non-citizens plus 400,000 dead registrants. Open borders equals stolen elections. Time to clean the voter rolls and secure our democracy. And I'll tell you what, getting these illegals out is a big step in all this. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen posted a deportation flight being loaded up, filled with illegal aliens. A great day for deportations. Now, Ultra Magadine said pay close attention that every single one of those people getting on that deportation flight are military-aged young men. Where are all the women and children? This was all done by design by the deep state and the Biden administration, and now President Trump is cleaning it up and sending them home. President Trump just isn't deporting illegal aliens that are murderers and rapists. He's deporting the deep state military men who were well positioned in the blue states and sanctuary cities by the Biden administration with the sole purpose to create riots and civil war that would eventually lead to the destruction of America from within. I would expect some more disclosure of the 2020 election and all other rigged elections to be coming out very soon as President Trump drains our nation of this deep state army once and for all. So another one, the full Fifth Circuit has issued an extraordinary precedential order making clear that illegal aliens do not have a constitutional right to roam free in the United States during their removal proceedings. Awaken Outlaw, get in here. This is awesome news. It's crazy as this is even has to be a thing we were forced to overcome in the first place. Other things, Scott Bessent ordered geotracking of the money flowing out of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and suddenly the Somalis are in full panic mode.
We're so grateful for the partnership of Secretary Bessent and the Trump administration. So he started a new program where they're going to limit cash out to $2,000 a person, which is going to be a dramatic change for a lot of people. And they're also going to be geo-tracking all the cash that's leaving the Hennepin County or Ramsey County, which is where, a lot of this population lives. And so that will really help because before they hadn't been tracking where the money went. And once it got to Dubai, they assumed, it was hard to track because it was going through the Hawala network.
Do you think Walz knew or is he just an idiot?
It's been so widely reported, there's no way he couldn't have known. It's been known since his first year in 2019. There was an OLA report at that time that thought there would maybe be $100 million in childcare fraud and talked about the ties to terrorism, and that whistleblower was ignored and hounded, actually retaliated against. So everyone's been willfully turning a blind eye in the Walz administration.
So he knew about it.
Oh, yes, he did. So the Minnesota fraud template put out by Observing Consciousness. I'm subscribed to him on X. Hope you guys would too and support him. The Minnesota fraud template cycling back into view, now scaled into its next mapping layer. First came the visible fraud, fabricated meals, fake clinics, phantom services, nonprofit fronts, draining public programs through the layers of administrative legitimacy. Now Treasury is following the money beyond the domestic payout window through the banks, the transmitters, the couriers, Dubai, East Africa, the foreign accounts, properties, and organizations waiting at the other end. This is the fraud industrial complex end to end. Taxpayer debt enters government programs, credentialed intermediaries converted into protected revenue, financial rails move it beyond jurisdiction. The proceeds cycle back as influence, political insulation, and narrative control. Minnesota was never merely a scandal. It was the Rosetta Stone. Each return to the template reveals another layer: identity, eligibility, credentialing, payment rails, NGO protection, jurisdictional escape, foreign beneficiaries. The map is expanding because the investigation is expanding. So from prosecuting fraudsters to identifying the architecture that produced them, financed them, protected them, and allowed the money to disappear, the lights are no longer fixed on the theft. They are moving through the entire machine, all tracing the money trails. This is just the start. Next round of national scaling incoming. Time to map it all. Man, this makes me want to get a cup of coffee. Let's listen to Mike.
Well, if you've ever been to a church potluck, you realize it's one of the most amazing American traditions that we have. Why, that dessert bar is enough to send anybody to heaven. But never fails, somebody brings cheap coffee to making that old percolator that hasn't been cleaned in 12 years. It's black and gross on the inside. How can you get a good cup of coffee out of that? But we did come up with a way to waken that roast up just a little bit. So first of all, pitch your basket. You're not going to need that. Then dump in all your grounds. Then fill that percolator all the way to the top with gas. Now, you might want to take just a couple steps back before you plug the percolator in. Oh, did I tell you this is a one-use kind of recipe? Woke the chickens up.
Oh, man. That is so cool. Woo! Hunter's Blend Coffee. That's Mike, man. We just love it. You guys head on over to the link in the description box below, Hunter's Blend Coffee. They roast the best coffee. You can head on over there, watch their videos, and so much more. And I tell you what, I love their website, love their coffee. I happen to drink their decaf now. They started with the simple belief what you drink should reflect what you stand for. That's why we buy the top 6% specialty coffee beans, roast with precision in small batches, and ship our locally roasted coffee fresh to your door. That's what they say. We support organizations and causes that are near and dear to the hearts of many freedom-loving Americans. And I tell you what, they do. They are so amazing. I hope you guys check them out and get your coffee today. All right. So you guys remember President Trump putting out the information about the spiral of death and destruction? Remember that? Is Trump telling us that the D party has a death spiral? I think he might have. Even though he's kind of intermingled that with when he was talking about Bibi Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He put in those words, spiral of death and destruction. He put those words in there. Interesting. August 17th thinks that he talked about the death spiral of the D party. knowing that all these things that are playing out before our eyes are part of the deep state party. New York City Mayor Zora Mondani, registered Democrat and member of the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, maintains an intensely hostile stance against Bibi Netanyahu, publicly labeling the Israeli Prime Minister a war criminal, exploring options to order the New York Police Department to arrest him. The thing about the DSA is that it's classified as a nonprofit political advocacy organization, not an official political party. It does not have its own line in the voting ballot. The Democratic Party does not have rules banning members from belonging to outside advocacy groups, clubs, or ideological organizations. Legally, anyone who fills out a voter registration form can call themselves a Democrat. Prominent members of the DSA, along with Zoran Memdani or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, Rashiba Tlaib, Michigan, Cori Bush, Missouri, Ilhan Omar, Minnesota, and Greg Cesar, Texas. This is all combined. Sure, sounds like a death spiral to me, because if you look in the cue board, it says D-Party death spiral. Remember, President Trump said spiral, death, and destruction. So you use that word spiral. We also see spiral in D-Party, puppet masters, string pullers, death spiral. They want to win by any means necessary, live or die. It's not looking good for these guys, especially when you got a Florida Democrat leader announcing that he's leaving the Democrat Party.
And my boys, guys, I'm excited for this. It makes me happy.
His name's Jason Pizzo, Democrat, Florida Democratic State Minority Leader, Jason Pizzo.
And clean and clear. And here's the issue. The Democratic Party in Florida is dead.
Get them. Good.
But there are good people that can resuscitate it. But they don't want it to be me. That's not convenient. It's not cool. I'm not having a Jerry Maguire moment right now, like, who's coming with me?
Frau von der Leyen.
But that's the truth. The party that my dad volunteered for in JFK when he was 18 years old in 1960 is not the party today. It craves and screams anarchy and then demands amnesty. That's not okay. I've always been criticized by the far left and by the far right. There'll be a caucus meeting later this afternoon where I hope that the members of the Democratic caucus will elect a new leader. For today, I FedExed my voter registration form to change my party affiliation to no party affiliation. Joe Scott should receive that by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning in Broward County. And here's why. Our constituents are craving practical leaders, not political hacks. We are entrusted to be guided by our conscience. And while I suppose it's easier in theory than it is in application, even my worst detractors have no valid claim that I can be bullied, that I can be bought, or even borrowed for a special interest.
There he goes. This is huge. Even a lifelong Democrat jumping ship. The blue wall is crumbling in the Sunshine State. Who else is tired of the same old politics? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now let's head over to Communist News Network. One of our favorite guys at CNN, giving us some more great stats.
Darlene Graham's chances have rocketed up because rarely has the power of one man and his endorsements in primaries been as strong with Donald Trump. Why don't we take a look here? Okay. Chance to win the South Carolina special Republican primary.
Darlene Graham. Didn't we just talk about her? She's going to help out with the Save America Act.
Darlene Graham, on Friday, she stood at just a 14% chance according to the cash prediction markets. As I said, up like a rocket. Now an 80% chance as the Trump endorsement is coming. Again, the power of one man, and Graham herself saying that, in fact, she is going to run full deferred term. So we're seeing an 80% chance. Look, that's not 100%, but it is way, way higher than 14% chance. She's the clear favorite to fill that seat, at least win the primary.
That's a big change in a very short period of time there. What's the president's record when he endorses Senate races and primaries?
Yeah, okay. So there's a reason why this 14% became 80%. And that is because when it comes to Senate primaries, Donald Trump's record is magnificent. You can see it right here. Okay. Trump endorsees won Senate primaries of non-elected incumbents. So we're not just looking at elected incumbents, right? We're looking at open seats or appointed incumbents who have never actually won the Senate seat. Look at this. Since 2022, it's about 95% of the time. This year, in fewer races, it's 100% of the time. No wonder why the prediction markets and the conventional wisdom have moved so rapidly once Trump made that endorsement, because at least in Senate races, Trump's record this year, 100%. And since 2022, nearly 100%. There has never been somebody I have seen as powerful in terms of their ability to move the electorate in primaries than the current president of the United States, Donald John Trump.
Interesting. So, Darlene Graham, let me show you guys this one here. July 21st, Darlene Graham, South Carolina. We just read her thing. Where's it at? There it is. She says, you remember earlier, the American people are demanding immediate action from Congress on election integrity. That's why the Save America Act is the first bill I am co-sponsoring in the Senate. Yeah. So check this out.
I'll continue to say I've been praying a lot, talking to my family, but with the love of my family, with the support of his staff, worker. I learned that from Lindsay.
So she's Lindsey Graham's sister.
He cared about the people of this state. I've worked for almost 30 years for the people of this state.
I want to talk about that in a minute.
I feel like I can do it. I feel an inner peace about it. Will it be difficult? Yes, absolutely.
So you're inclined to get in, or have you even made a final decision?
I've made a decision.
You're in.
I'm in.
So what do you guys think about that? Let us know below the video. President Trump has endorsed her. So we're going to move forward into more information. You guys remember this, the 16-year plan to destroy America? Just rehash it for a moment. Obama, the first 8 years, weakened the USA around the world, and Hillary Clinton, 8 years, she would destroy America and the rise of the New World Order. Obama installed rogue operators in the government. He removed the good guys, funded terrorism, MS-13, and he cut the military funding. He staged the Supreme Court. He flooded the illegals in. He completely started the racism war again, just rehashed that whole thing and caused so many problems. He weakened the conservative base and more. She was going to come in and start World War III. Real and orchestrated. She's going to have open borders. She was going to kill the economy and remove the Electoral College, remove the military funding, and destroy and censor opposing news outlets. So let's listen to this. And if you're looking at your screen, we have the drops supporting it, 4845, Clinton Foundation, Soros journalists, and more. And we also had to debunk the evidence. Media Matters pointed to a Snopes.com fact check. We know they lied about the Clinton campaign on Drop 56.
Now let me shift to Benghazi and Libya, where treason was committed. And here we got the pathological liar, Hillary. What went on there? If you take nothing else away, understand we switched sides on the global war on terror. They knew they were funding Al-Qaeda militias, the Muslim Brotherhood controlled militias, and those rebels in Syria who morphed into ISIS. They provided them training, funding, and weapons. There's no question about it. Now, I can't cover everything in the little time left, but I want to take you, well, let's say one thing. You know, Benghazi never had to happen. Hillary, you know, Gaddafi wanted to go into truce negotiations. He was ready to abdicate. 2 days of negotiations went on. My good friend Chuck Kubik, retired Rear Admiral, was conducting them. with African, Carter Ham. They were terminated after 2 days by somebody outside the Pentagon. You can figure out who that was. So what happened? Tens of thousands of people lost their lives. Here's a president who got the Nobel Peace Prize for giving a speech. Yet he couldn't give a few more days for truce negotiations. Now, I want to take you to the time just before the attack. And, you know, there were multiple warnings of the attack. I mean, Benghazi was out of control. There were 10 militias running wild. And repeated requests by Stevens for increased security were denied or unanswered. And I got to tell you, who in the hell would know if you provided Stevens with 6 more security guards? Nobody. The same way, Lieutenant Colonel Andy Woods, Special Security Team in Tripoli, if he was kept there until the middle of September, instead of being drawn out the end of August, who would know? Nobody. On the 11th of August, Stevens put out a cable. The security situation is unpredictable. On the 16th of August, he put out another one that said, what did it say? It said the special mission compound cannot withstand a coordinated attack. On the 29th of August, the Libyan government put out a special alert on Benghazi because of the attacks on foreigners and their installations. The CIA, GRS security team, and these are the guys that did the 13 Hours movie. I personally talked to them. They told me there were 10 to 12 days of advance warning. It was posted each and every day on their bulletin board. So, you know, as a combat commander, you never want to be caught short. So you have to ask, why weren't forces pre-positioned? Never happened. And even so, we had forces available that could have been brought to bear.
That's right.
We had C-130 gunships, one at Djibouti, which was 7 hours away. The other one, though, was at Sigonella, an hour and 45 minutes away. We had F-16 aircraft at Aviano. And I got to tell you, they're already loaded with their 20 Mike cylinders for airworthiness. They could have been there in 2.5 hours. We had a 130-man Marine Force recon team in Sigonella. We had the commanders in Stremis Force in Croatia with their own aircraft who could have been there in a matter of hours.
Talking about Benghazi, in case you guys are wondering.
Never got authority to go beyond Sigonella. We had a 65-man Marine fast team at Rota.
And he goes over those. And you remember, we're told on 48405 on the Q Board, Clinton Foundation, Soros journalists, direct Africa, SA, SAPS, China, Russia, Uranium One, Hussein directed, Benghazi, MB, I'm assuming that's Muslim Brotherhood, tell me if I'm wrong, CIA assets, crimes against humanity. And then you got the Wiener backup, right? All that information on the laptops. These two were just puppets from the masters that stay in hiding. And they were told to do all they can to destroy this country. And we talked about this a little yesterday. If you're looking at your screen, more and more, Matt Von Swol caught onto this, where folks, he says, I'm now fully convinced major fraud is taking place in North Carolina crime stats. He said he was researching a case when he kept noticing something odd. A Hispanic suspect who was correctly labeled as Hispanic would strangely be Caucasian in other arrests. This happened more than once, so I started digging. Turns out this constantly. In fact, even when a suspect is clearly Hispanic, even has an ICE detainer, and the option for ethnicity is available to pick H, Hispanic, they are often labeled as Caucasian. I didn't come across this once or twice. I saw it hundreds and hundreds of times. The option to pick Hispanic is there, but they just aren't using it. They are purposely choosing the label of white Caucasian to identify clearly Hispanic criminal illegal aliens from other countries. It's massive fraud. Massive. Will this be taken care of? I wanted to show you this video from Dan Scavino. It's inside the Oval Office. And he's basically giving you a view of how beautiful it is there for all to see. Right there on that part, you'll see boom, right? That jet. It continues to play forward. Just a beautiful sight for those that are looking on your screen. Hope you guys are enjoying that view. For those listening in, marvelous what they've done in this office. Marvelous. Definitely looks like a presidential room. Awe-inspiring for all to see. And as the video gets closer and closer to that bell right there, all of a sudden you see the Batman signal. Oh, that's interesting. The Batman signal popped up, and I have a screenshot of that. Then you got the FIFA trophy there. And, well, Dan Scavino's posts from the Oval Office. Interesting because at the 47-second mark, folks, the Batman signal flashes in front of the what appears to be like where we go when we go all bell. So Dan is telling us 47 is Batman. Dan may also be letting us know that the bell has sounded and the bat signal has been flashed. And now it's time for Batman. Now let's look at this. So I thought this is kind of interesting. 47, right? 47, this pick came in at 47 seconds, remember, with the Batman. 47 says you can paint the picture based solely on the questions asked. Be vigilant today and expect a major false flag. Does anyone find it to be a coincidence? There's always a terrorist attack when bad news breaks for the Democrats. What is that called? Military relevant? How? BO could not and would not allow the military to destroy ISIS. Why? How was ISIS formed? When? How has the POTUS made such progress in the short time he's been president? Alice in Wonderland. What makes him Batman? We'll go over that in a moment. And also, boom, Biden opens the door. Whew, the emergency bid to block DOJ. Can't wait to show you that. First, I just want to remind you we've got our picks for our Patriots coming right up. And I wanted to remind you, if you head on over to our site, you can see that the Patriot Showcase, if you go into our new site, andweknow.com, you go to the Patriot Showcase, you'll see it at Get Involved, click on the Patriot Showcase, and the next thing you know, you'll have a submit a photo. You just click on that, and you'll be able to send us photos, and they'll appear on our website. Pretty cool. Here's more great pictures of Patriots wearing their gear. So Batman is a multi-billionaire businessman, right? In the movies, in the comics. Donald Trump is a multi-billionaire businessman. He has a tower named after himself. Well, Trump does too. He fought to uphold the law. President Trump said, I am Batman. President Trump said, I'm Batman. Born into an already wealthy family, both of them sought to protect the world from an alien threat. President Trump seeks to protect his country from illegal aliens. They have never been seen at the same location at the same time. All right, John Solomon. D.C. Circuit Court denies Biden's emergency bid to block the DOJ from releasing her transcripts. Wow. This is a boom. Shalicious, right? Observing consciousness. Biden just opened the door to the evidence beneath politically protected non-prosecution decisions. Guess who is standing behind it? Clinton, Comey, Epstein, Mueller, Every case where DOJ handed America a conclusion while keeping the underlying evidence locked away. This ruling creates the pathway. Hers report was the interpretation. Biden's tapes are the source. And once the source material becomes auditable, the same demand moves across the entire system. Show us what DOJ had. Show us what prosecutors knew. Show us why the powerful walked. Biden fought to keep his evidence sealed. Now his case may become the precedent that cracks open the protection architecture built for everyone behind him. The funny part, Biden opened the door, a gift that just keeps on giving. Now this is being censored by YouTube. Eva, remember, she gives a viral speech disclosing the statistics of European countries losing to immigrants.
Amsterdam currently consists of 56% migrants. The Hague, 58% migrants. Rotterdam, almost 60% migrants. And of course, most of these immigrants come from non-Christian, non-Western, African and Middle Eastern countries. Conclusion. The Dutch population is already outnumbered in the majority of our cities. But let's look onwards. London, 54% migrants. Again, conclusion, native population outnumbered. Brussels, color me shocked, 70% migrants. Conclusion, native population majorly outnumbered. And other Europeans will, of course, follow suit soon if they haven't already. So I'm going to draw the forbidden conclusion here. The Great Replacement theory is no longer a theory. It's reality. And what's interesting about replacement is that the establishment will either deny its existence, or when they admit to it, they say that it's a good thing that the native European population is soon no longer a majority on its own continent. Dutch national disgrace and dubbed climate pope Frans Timmermans already stated in 2015 that diversity is humanity's destiny and that Europe will be diverse. And of course, by now, I think we all know what they mean with the word diversity. It means less white people, less of you. Imagine this in an Asian or an African country. Imagine their leaders rejoicing in the fact that their people will soon no longer be a majority in their own country. Absolutely unthinkable, unimaginable. So what in the world is wrong with our leaders?
So let's go back across the pond here. The alert red state, South Carolina. Amy Mack put this out. The same Richland County Sheriff's Department that honored accused rapist imam now features hijabi deputy S. Hussein. In 2024, they publicly awarded Louis Ekbatib for 5 years of service. You're going to see that in the bottom left of your corner. In 2026, they arrested him for 4 counts of sexual assault and battery, accusing him of years of abusing women as an imam and Islamic school administrator. Now they're proudly showing off Deputy S. Hussein, a full hijab-wearing Muslim deputy on the force. This is the same department pushing Muslim citizens' academies, Ramadan iftars at local mosques, and diversifying a red state sheriff's office. Coincidence? They're importing Sharia adherent ideology into law enforcement while honoring predators who prey on their community. Women are being victimized. Public trust is gone. Richland County, how deep does this go? Salty Goat, we have 1,200 Muslim officers, 10 in hijab. I'm looking forward to another 100,000 ladies wearing hijabs in the near future as NYPD. This is from Emil Elascori, NYPD Sergeant. Y'all see what's happening here. So, Dr. Moloff put this video clip out. Most Muslims genuinely believe the only thing preventing Islam from taking over the world is America.
It's in your interest, because it's in the Ummah's interest, for American hegemony to decline in the world. And you have to think, as an American Muslim, How are you going to contribute to that? American power is receding, China's power is rising, and that is slowly opening up a space in the Muslim world.
We're in the belly of the beast. We are in the heart of U.S. empire.
We are here in the belly of the insatiable imperial beast.
Here in North America, in the U.S., the belly of the beast, the heart of empire.
We have to bring down this empire with 1 million cuts.
We will be hitting empire where it hurts most. Bring empire to its knees.
Dismantling the heart of empire is not easy, and it won't be rapid. But we know it's possible.
This panel, y'all, is talking about what is next. To strike at the heart of empire.
Palestinian Youth Movement. We are in the belly of the beast. Talking about America. We need to strike the heart of the empire to bring it down. Talking about us. In America.
We actually need to crash the U.S. settler state. We have to struggle to crash things here. And my students were very, very clear about this. We have to struggle for indigenous sovereignty right here.
That seek to dismantle the United States. I hope you seek to dismantle the United States. And if that isn't your politics, okay?
University of Minnesota. We showed that before. All these clips go on sharing their plans and how they want to dismantle this country. Why are Western nations committing suicide? Asked Laura Logan. Because the Islamists are a proxy of the globalists who are directing it all. Another proxy, the Marxists. Aussies killed by Muslims, 155. Muslims killed by Aussies in Islamophobic attacks, 0. The same people who destroyed the UK are now destroying Australia. The Albanese government is being sneaky. It hasn't told us which 35 of the 54 recommendations it has accepted. Listen to this.
I'm very pleased to be here with the Special Envoy to combat Islamophobia, Aftab Malik, and to release his report, A National Response to Islamophobia. Australians should be able to feel safe and at home in any community.
Prejudice undermines the core value of mutual respect, fairness, and compassion. It also disproportionately disenfranchises Australian Muslims, who are not asking for special treatment, but equal recognition of harm.
We must stamp out the hate, fear, and prejudice that drives Islamophobia and division.
Hate, fear, and prejudice. So you point out the truth, tell them what's going on, and they call it hate. Fear and prejudice. Yeah. They continue that. It's getting old. We've learned. We're watching. And the Australians that watch this show continue to stay in prayer for all that's going on. Now, wanted to remind everybody, this has been put out sudden and unexpected. Just a reminder, 50 years later, the CDC is admitting the polio vaccine was tainted with SV40, a cancer-causing virus from monkey cells. Up to 30 million Americans received it. Coincidentally, cancer rates exploded in the following decades. But today's vaccine's totally safe, they promise. The pattern's clear. The exact number of people exposed in the world is unknown, but likely tens of millions. The 50s, nearly, early 60s, millions of doses of polio vaccine. CDC estimates 10 to 30 million Americans received SV40 contaminated polio vaccine. SV40 has been found in certain human cancers, brain, bone, lung, etc. But the CDC and most official sources say the evidence does not prove it causes cancer in humans, though some studies show conflicting results. So, Nicholas Holscher, the largest COVID shot, talking about COVID recent shot, autopsy study ever conducted, found 73.9% of deaths after vaccination were caused by the shot.
We found that 73.9% of those deaths were from the vaccine. We did do a systematic review of 325 peer-reviewed autopsy cases. We looked at all of them, adjudicated all of them. Were they from the vaccine or not? Unfortunately, yes, they are deadly. FDA Class 1 recall should have happened years ago. It's exceeded past vaccine withdrawal limits by like hundreds of thousands of percent. About 4 independent estimates of American COVID-19 vaccine deaths. It ranges from about 470,000 from Pfizer alone up to 840,000 American deaths from the COVID-19 vaccines. We have to remember that is rivaling the American soldier death toll of World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and the Iraq War combined.
So I just want to make sure we point that out. We don't want to forget with all the other information that's coming out, the health and more. And it's just a reminder, and it's a grim reminder of the things that we've been through just recently. It's hard to believe that we're wearing masks, mistreated, pushed around, and that we made it through that whole thing. Tired of it. Fighting back. The leaders that are in place are doing all they can to ensure that this doesn't happen anymore. We hope. We have to stay in prayer. This enemy is real. They're being picked apart. They're in panic mode. We think that many of these are, of course, actors that are playing the roles of these individuals like the ones on your screen to wake up the people to what has happened, to what they've done. So they might be gone and done for, but you have to keep them in the front and center as this information is unveiled of what they've done to our country. And then the people will wake up and say they've had enough. You know, I didn't want to end with a depressing aura like this. I wanted to show you a video that's been making waves around everywhere, around social media, and it really touched my heart. And I'm going to get to around the 50-second mark here. And this is the Latvians singing the Lord's Prayer. For those listening, enjoy. But if you could see it, it's even more inspirational to watch. This will touch your heart, and I want to go through this for a few minutes before we go to prayer, to listen to them singing the Lord's Prayer before we close out today.
nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you now, just in awe of you and what you've done in our lives. We were shown by you how to pray. Call it the Lord's Prayer. It's more like a prayer for us, the disciples' prayer in a sense, right? How we should pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. We thank you for the leaders that you've placed at this time. We lift them up to you. Temptations are many, the many that are under your direction by the Holy Spirit, fighting this evil. Many ways we've seen throughout history, throughout your written word, your love letter to us, story after story of battles, facing evil, nations. And we certainly hope that as we saw the Red Sea part and the destruction of all the evil in one sweep of motion, that we'd see the same thing happen in our very time. And we rejoice and we'd share with others what a mighty God we serve. We ask for continued protection over those fighting, those wearing uniform, many others will never know. You know who they are. Rescuing the children, bringing freedom to many people who have been in slavery for so long. Please remove these folks that have infiltrated our country and causing so much harm. We ask this in Jesus Christ's name, our Savior. Amen. Folks, hope you have a wonderful time today, Wednesday, and understanding and knowing our God's in control. We thank you for your prayers. We thank you for your support. We thank you for hitting that follow and like button and more. Our team has been working. We just want to thank you. For now, this is LT Semper Fi with Them We Know, signing out.
Senator, I would just note that militarily, Iran has been completely overmatched and crushed from the beginning. Militarily, their capabilities are nowhere near ours.
Well, why
don't you show some leadership and stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics while you don't give us the money? You want to stand up here and talk about the troops? You won't show any political courage to actually fund our department because you have Trump derangement syndrome and can't actually commit to anything meaningful. So I put this on you, Senator.